Huge pot against his nemesis Daniel Negreanu. What were they both thinking about? Find out as we take you behind the poker face.
Well, I've played a decent amount of poker with Randy online. This is the first time I had an opportunity to play with him in a live scenario.
Early on in the big game, I was raising a lot of pots, just playing very aggressively, and a lot of the table noticed this.
I felt like he might be a little more uncomfortable.
The loose cannon opens for 1,600. Daniel calls right after. I don't make too much of it. I woke up in a small blind with pocket queens, and this is like a gold mine because I've been just repopping so much and I finally get a pretty good hand. I make it 6,000, which is a pretty sizable raise.
After she folds, I figure we've got more than enough chips for me to make sense to call with pocket sevens.
And I expected Daniel to call with a very wide range at this point, just given that he was in position. We're playing pretty deep stacks. I would expect him to have any suited connector, any pocket pair. Then the flop came, Jack 3-2, rainbow.
I was trying to tell him that I had pocket threes. I'm like, wow, really cool, An interesting situation, okay? Because I have 3 threes.
I didn't really listen too much into it because I figured he's just trying to sell me a story.
You don't believe that?
I played a lot of hands with Daniel, and he thinks I'm an aggressive player, so betting outright on a flop was definitely the best decision. So I bet $8,000 into the pot.
I figure he's either got aces, kings, queens, or like ace, king, ace, queen. So I really want him to slow down for the most part, and also potentially like set up a bluff, because at that point, I have sevens, which beats some hands, but if he's not bluffing, I'm in trouble. So I decided to convince him that I'm gonna call the flop, call the turn, and raise on the river. That's plan A. I might change my mind, but plan A is call, ship river.
And once he called, you gotta start putting him on ranges. I'm gonna put him on like some jacks, a lot of jacks actually, and I'll say like any pocket pair that wasn't a set on the flop. But if you look at that whole range, there's definitely more hands that lost to pocket queens than beat me.
The turn card was a 7. Now all of a sudden my plan changed. He bet 20,000.
I chose to bet 20,000 instead of checking. The reason is when he called on the flop, he's more likely to have a pair. So me checking to him and letting him pocket control wasn't really a great situation, give him a free card. I figure I'm just gonna keep on betting here. I was playing aggressively, so I would expect him to put me on a bluff a lot of times and he would call me down light.
If I went ahead and raised here, then he would really believe that I had 3 threes. I did get lucky enough to hit the set, so I thought if I raise him, he'll fold, but if he's got nothing, he might go ahead and bluff me on the river or try to because it doesn't look like I have a set. So I decided to call and hope that he bluffs the river. River card comes in ace, and he very confidently bets 47,800. So I'm actually a little bit worried. I'm now worried that you just made 3 aces.
I think it kind of worked in my favor because the ace is a very scary card for his range.
I think some of the time he has ace-jack. I'm also very worried that he has pocket jacks or pocket aces. He bet 50,000 almost, and he's only got 14,000 left, so I'm not folding. I certainly can't fold a set. My only thought process was, does it make sense to raise?
He took his time debating.
It really smells like aces.
And eventually, he just called, and I actually said my hand very quickly. Queens. I thought I won for sure, but then he told me he turned me.
Turned to set. And I'm never gonna bluff in that spot, so I think I played it right by just calling the river and not getting the extra 14,000 in value.
That's just how it is, and you don't want to dwell on it too much, just kind of take the information and just move on to the next hand.
You can